Let's take a look here. How about this for cool? Because a lot of you probably haven't seen pistons before in the chamber. You see that right in there? That metal? Those are your pistons right there. I guess this is what you'd probably call the crankcase. It's really not that bad. I thought it was going to be a whole lot worse than that. I showed you inside the motor there. I got the spark plugs all cleaned out, so it was really oozing before. I don't even like to keep taking this brittle gasket off. I could make another one, but I don't want to go and try to find another one either, you know. Anyway, you need some oil in there for shifting and etc. because your linkage here slides right through. I'm seeing the linkage in there. I guess I could show you. So your shifting linkage right in there, it's in the bottom left there. I'm trying to get the camera on it, way down in there. This part of your shifting linkage. So I did some research, and you definitely don't want to just start hitting it with brake clean. So I guess I got 2 cans of brake clean extra. But I thought I was going to have this baby was going to just be chock full again. Before, she was really, really just chock full of oil. This actually looks, I cleaned it all up. I didn't get that part on camera. And because I was building obviously too much pressure and such when I was just idling it. Move these spark plugs if you're going to turn it over, because then you'll have no compression. As you can see, I cleaned these plugs all out. They're still a little charred up, and I mean, to be expected, this thing was idling, but they're going to run fine. If I'm going to be on YouTube, I might as well have something interesting, right? Let's watch these pistons go up and down in the chamber here. You see them? Now watch. I have no compression, so I should be able to see that. So what happens is, on these pistons, and you can see the design too. You see the design on the piston head there? It's got a wedge. So now what happens is when it comes up, this is actually the exhaust side from all the oil. And the other side has, so they're using the top of the piston head to block off the chamber, so when the oxygen comes in and we mix with the gasoline on the other side, the explosion takes place, and on its way down, it exits through these chambers. So I'll try to get this light in here for you. Once. Oh, come on! Look at this shit! Alright, you guys, I tried there to show you that way. I'm just going to have to do it with like this because there's just no way. All right. So you got your pistons. They're going to travel. You see how they're traveling back and forth? When that side's coming up, you got gas and fuel on the other side coming in. Well, this one's going to be letting out the exhaust here, right? So gas and fuel come in. Spark plug goes off and detonates. Explosion drives that cylinder back down, and then the gases exit here. And this was filling up with oil because all you had was way too much oil that wasn't burning off. Ideally, you want a full explosion, a full burn, it's called. And you get everything off. As you can see on here, it's got just years of carbon. You can go ahead and try to clean these piston heads. I'm not gonna. You're asking for trouble. You're asking for trouble when you get into that type of deal. As you can see, you guys, I got my new Honda over here. There she goes, you guys. I'm gonna start trolling with that, obviously. The weather's been so horrible, I thought, let me come down and check this motor. And I pull them both out of the rainstorm. You could leave motors outside, but I just assumed it was better to pull them out of the rainstorm and get them in here. They're not that heavy. So now I can scrape all this crud off. So I'm scraping this off, but it all gets down to like how serious you want to get and how dirty do you want to get, you know. This could get up in the exhaust there, but on its travel out, if it breaks off. But I highly doubt any of this is going to break off, and I'm just scraping the hosing now because I should have a plastic knife, not a screwdriver. Okay. Let it soak in. It all comes down to how much of a mess are you willing to make for no reason whatsoever besides aesthetics. And as you can see, I got a whole boat shop downstairs now. See, I'm just making a mess, you guys. Sure, I'll get it clean if I want, completely. I don't need it any cleaner than this, you guys. It's just going to get nuts. That carbon ain't coming off of there. Ever. You're going to have more carbon build up after the end of every season. So, every 5 years or something, maybe go through and do something like this, but there's no need. I was just in here checking, and I wanted to show you guys something cool. With a 2-stroke motor now, you're mixing the oil and gas, so the explosion and everything, and the oil, the bypass of the oil and everything is what lubricates the engine rings and everything else. So you have no oil in the actual crankcase. Whereas in a car, you'd have oil where the inside your crankcase, and your pistons would have valves over the top of them that do the same thing that holes drilled into the block are doing. These are just holes drilled into the block, and you've seen how that piston had a separator in it. So, I've already scraped it up. It's whatever. This is a 1950 motor, you guys. Sometimes being a perfectionist will just get you into more trouble. Like I left it out in the rain. I'm using white lithium. It works for a little while, and then it's a lubrication. See? And it kind of waterproofs it and everything, and it lasts for a very short amount of time. Probably a couple trips on the water till it gets wet, or it's left in the rain one time. But hey, it's up to you to do whatever you feel like doing. Of course, this has to be complicated too, you guys. Trust me. It's got to go around this to hold itself in place. It clips in there, clips in here. You got to make sure you're remembering all your placements of your bolts. You know. Make sure you got glass, so if it falls, you got nothing but problems. Make sure you have a glass jar right over the basement drain so that you have to take everything apart if something goes wrong and it falls in there. I'm kidding, obviously. You don't want to tighten anything down majorly. You want it to be able to be loose a little bit, or you'll notice that one of your bolts at the end won't go in probably. Simple operation. I don't even want to go in on the other side and check the 90% of the time you're not going to have a problem with your intake because all it is gasoline and air. So I mean, it's possible that the you could, if you had enough gasoline breakdown, the ethanol breaks down on the intake side. It looks similar to this, except for you, it's more of a challenge to get to. You could have a problem with ethanol turning into like a glue. It is possible, but for the most part, it's going to be your exhaust side that's going to be all carboned up. Not on cars, but on 2-strokes, I'm saying. On cars, you get a mess all over because direct injection is what cars are running now. It's just a fuel injector that's directly in the firing chamber. That's what that means. Direct injection means that you gotta, instead of the fuel injectors used to be on a rail that would spray and the mist would come right on one of these valves to bring it into the motor. Now they're directly in the motor. So if you don't have a 100% clean burn, and you never do, never, in stop and go traffic and stuff, you build up so much carbon. I mean, these foreign Audis are just known for it. It's become like a death sentence for the cars, and then they have to tear them all apart just to get the carbon cleaned out of the motor. They're horrible. I stay away from direct injection. You can do whatever you want, but if you're not a mechanic, it's really not smart to go get yourself a direct injected car. Even though I know it's hard now, you have to go back and get an older car that's in really good condition and try to live with that instead, you know? Like, you know, anything that's probably 2010 or before. Maybe some make and models 2012, but you get direct injection in almost everything now, and I'm telling you guys, you really don't want it. The automatic stop-start feature on the cars and the direct injection is clogging them up so bad that I'm telling you, you don't want no part of it. You might not have a choice. In that case, you got to run premium gasoline, and you got to disable that stop-start feature on your car. Usually there's a procedure to do it, or a fuse, and a lot of places now sell bypass switches type of deal that plug in line or on a sensor that would take the check engine light off your car so you can just run your car normally. That'll give you a lot better chance. because these stop-start vehicles now, where you're at a stoplight and they're stopping and starting to save gas mileage, that's the worst thing you could ever have for a vehicle. You guys, we're not racing in the Grand Prix. This motor looks good. It looks like it's going to do what I want it to do. I'm not idling it anymore. I'm idling that one. So I checked in here. My exhaust side doesn't... The last time I was in here, it was super saturated in oil, you guys. I mean, it was something to see. I wish I would have put it on camera, but I was so frustrated with all the cleaning I was about to do that I didn't even want to deal with it. So, get these nice and tight, because I don't think I'll be coming back in here anytime soon. Okay? Hopefully. Not for a couple years. I shouldn't have that problem again now that I got this bad boy over here. This is the only motor I've seen that has 5 stars. On almost every single application, it's a 5-star. It's got an automatic transmission, if you want to call it that. Little plastic blade. That thing's going to go as fast as this. I assure you, I started it up. It's got compression like nobody's business. It's going to push the little boat if I wanted to 7 miles an hour. I can now, if you see all my boats set up here, I'll put a picture. I can go run them both if I want. What do you guys think about that now? 10 miles an hour, probably. Don't over tighten your plugs, guys. They need to be snug and tight, not crazy cranked down. The last thing you ever want to do in life is have a stripped out spark plug hole. So there you go. She's ready to rock and roll. I just got to put the cover on it. Like I said, then I spray in my white lithium in there to get it nice and lubricated. This is a lot more simple, but it was actually a lot of learning experience, especially with these carburetors. What I ended up doing with this carburetor is, when you were out on the water, it had these little pins on the back that would only allow you to move it this much. And what I did is I took those off, because you're not going to follow. Sometimes these babies need to be turned twice, like that. And if you had the cap on, you couldn't do that. It was only giving you, with these pins that stuck out the back, it was only giving you leeway to go for a half a turn. And then it would lock itself up on purpose, by design. And from the factory, that was probably okay. But on this worn out engine, you need to have more than that. And then number 2, I could close the valves all the way shut so that if I tip the motor, it won't leak any gasoline, because I don't have any inserts in here. The cork inserts are impossible to find to stop gas from coming out. So when you're on the water, you don't have a problem, because your trim's going to be down and the carburetor is going to be pointed up. But when you're driving, gas was coming out of these pins right here. So now I just open them up when I'm out on the water and ready to go. So it's all been a learning game, guys, and it's worked out really well, though. So now I got this bad boy. Come on, tell me you don't like that. Look at this cute little thing. That's going to be my walleye slayer this year. So there you have it, how this all started this year, with just a boat that I got from a buddy, a motor I got from a friend that didn't run, and then a boat I got from my dad's buddy for almost nothing. And I turned my whole basement into a dang near whole motor shop for outboards. I got my movable motor mount rack here, where I can move motors around the basement when I want, take on and off, for transporting around and working on wherever I want, so I don't have to sit down in a chair again. I'm using this for a mount to mount my little electric motor here. I probably won't use anymore. I got my new Honda that can stay down here, so I don't have to put the rain cap cover on it or any of that nonsense. And here you go. So what started out as a small little operation has already turned into a madhouse. I'm almost in a position I could probably take small engines for repair down here if I decide to. And I just might do that, you guys. Nothing I can't fix. You see how easy this is, you guys, instead of messing around? So this pull start right here is getting all chewed up on me here. Now I'm going to have to come up with a way to hit it with that electrical tape process. to keep that rubber from getting more worn out than it already is. Get a good ring of electrical tape on there to stop that rubber from really cracking up any more than it is. Keep the sun, it can get any more sun damage. How else are you gonna fix a 100-year-old motor? That's good. And then I roll her right back. Check this out. So there you go. She's ready for the water. That motor is going to get me the probably 8 miles an hour now that I got it all cleaned out and the carburetor ready to go with the spark plugs clean, and I'm only going to run it wide open. And around rocks, I've ran it into rocks so many times. Over this last 70 years, it's hit so many rocks. That's good for rocks. It's all steel. This here is all plastic. This will be kicked up. I'll use it for trolling. I control all the way down to 2-3 feet of water if I want. And I can get where other people can't for walleyes, that's for sure. And then I put this up and I run that when I want to go back in the shore. So I'm happy with it. If I run them both together one day because I want to have like a pleasure cruise, I'll run them both together. I got the transom set where they both got, I'll show you. And then I can run them both together and I'll do probably 10, 12 miles an hour. We'll see. I had a lot of people actually asking me, friends and such, and some people on here ask me why I don't just get a motor that can do both. Take me at a rate of speed that I want to go, say 15 miles an hour to get to and from places, or troll. Well, let me tell you what, guys, that's not really a thing, okay? You can argue with me all you want. I don't want to argue. It's not really a thing. I used to have 7.5 horse. I've been through every Mercury, every all these motors you can think of, anything that's carbureted. Even 4-strokes are not designed to idle like that unless you get what's called a kicker motor. Now, you go and look at the starting price of a kicker motor somewhere that you're going to find that you're not going to have to work on, that it hasn't been used for who knows how many hundreds of hours on the water and already has carbon buildup. And this was a project that I wanted to have a fishing boat well under $1,000, and the only reason it's gotten to $900, I'm all invested at $900, guys, because that's what this boat was all about getting. It's already gone way too far. It's gone way too far at $900. But these kicker motors, like a Yamaha 9.9 or something in that ballpark, you're talking thousands, $3,000-$4,000. You get to the point where you might as well just buy yourself a boat. The whole idea of this boat was, let's get the cheapest boat I can get on the water that's safe enough to go out with 2 people, that control for walleyes, because that's what I like to do, is I'm a walleye guy. And 90% of the time, when you're running a boat, you're going A to B is just to get you in position to run your trolling. So you're only running wide open or doing anything like that 5% of the time anyway. So the answer to that question is I wanted to be as cheap as effing possible, okay? And all in right now, I'm under $1,000. That was the goal. After that, I might as well just go buy a boat, because you can get a boat for $4,500, $5,000, or $6,000, $7,000. You get a nice boat with a little motor, you know. And even then, I would have had nothing but problems, because I would have been trying to. I'm telling you, you're not going to troll with a motor that's even a 25 horse. You're not going to do it. Go ahead. Go ahead and do it. You can, if you're doing it and you're telling me you can do it, you haven't done it. You've only done it for a couple years. You're not using it for 10 years. There's a couple motors that could probably do it, maybe for a while. But if you're talking crazy to me about it, let me tell you what. You better watch out and knock on wood, because it doesn't take long when you got these. Even on 4-strokes, they are not designed. They're going to build carbon up, like you just seen in this motor. They're going to do that even worse in if you're just idling in that for any reason that starts to build up carbon. It's just going to seal up your valves, and you're going to have nothing but problems. So that's why I just wanted to make that a point. I'm not arguing with anybody. I'm sure you could find a motor. I haven't. I found a couple they said could do it, and then I went through the reviews, and they're all 2 stars, and people say it's BS, and I knew right away, there's no way this 7.5 or this 10 horsepower, they claim, oh, it's going to troll. No, they make what's called a kicker motor for that. a kicker motor, and that's designed more on that low end trolling and not even really you can run it wide open, but that's not even made for that. That you run your main motor for that. These guys have a main motor that's 250 horsepower to get from A to B, and they got a little kicker motor that's 7.5 to 10 horsepower that they just run for trolling walleyes on their big boats. They don't do both with any of the motors. That's why I didn't do it. So in a way, I love this. Nobody's got it. Okay, guys? That was the whole point. I wanted to be out there with the big dogs. I wanted to have a chance if it is a 36, 38, 40-inch walleye or something. I wanted to be out there with the big dogs, and that's why I got the motorcycle I got. A lot of guys got all these leader bikes, and I wanted to just be out there with I have 100 horse. They got 200, but whatever. I have good enough horsepower for my 600cc to get right out there on the highway with the big boys for a while. And that's all this is. I want to be out on the water with the big dogs fishing. If I wanted to spend $10,000, $20,000, I would have. So the suggestions are awesome. It's just give me a suggestion on a budget. You see what I'm saying? So I'm happy with what I got, guys. So hopefully this year I get a huge walleye.